Yes, I would like to welcome you today at our session, Tax and Retirement Planning. Thanks for spending your time with us to learn and improve and understand better how you can minimize your taxes and structure your financial affairs in a more efficient and pragmatic way. A bit of a background. Centennial College Alumni Association is also the co-organizer put it this way, and we basically decided to put this session from a perspective of tax season, of RSP season. We have until the end of this month to contribute to RRSP, to use those deductions for last year, and you'll learn a lot about it. Hopefully, you'll learn a thing or two that will help you to improve your situation or your family situation. Few housekeeping items. We've basically made everyone muted, and we will not be able to see you, but you can also put your questions in the chat, so we see every message that you send there. So if you have any questions, just put them there. We'll go through them, and we'll answer those. And then if you have a feeling that you need to discuss your specific situation um, separately, again, feel free to reach out. We'll send you a copy of the slides. We'll follow up. You'll have our contacts and etc. So a bit of a background. I've graduated from Centennial College back in 2014, 15, and I joined the Alumni Association about 4 or 5 years ago. So since that time, we've got quite a few improvements, changes. We've also brought in PKF and TARIS. PKF, they are basically at this point they help us with bookkeeping and audit, but also they are helping with income taxes. So if you guys have a need, well, you basically should file your taxes, not just like you feel that you have that need, but reach out to them because we've partnered with PKF and they are providing preferred rates to alumni of Centennial College. So for myself, I am a treasurer at Centennial College Alumni Association, but also I work with Colburn Group at IG Private Wealth Management, and our focus is financial planning and asset management. So everything that has to do with minimizing your taxes, planning your retirement, estate planning for individuals, for corporate clients and business owners. So that's our specialty here. So we'll start our presentation shortly, and I'll give you some alerting numbers and stats that we have now, just to trigger your interest and basically make you think about retirement planning, financial planning, and tax minimization, etc. So one of the biggest regrets that Canadians have, it's called "I wish I had started sooner." So over 50% of Canadians say that they're not on track for their retirement, and over 30% they worry that they will never be able to retire. So that's a big one. Also, reality check: government won't save you. Unfortunately, some people are relying on pension income from government in the form of CPP and all age securities, but that will provide you on average now about 1,300 per month, and a lot of people underestimate that income, and they're not aware of how much it will give them once they retire. So there is some planning around that needs to be done. Also, hidden tax trap in retirement that we call it. So over 40% of Canadians don't realize that RSP withdrawals are fully taxable in retirement. So they feel that it might be tax-free withdrawals, but unfortunately that is not the case. And Olga, who is with us today, She will tell you much more about it in details. And by the way, sorry, I didn't introduce Olga. Olga is a senior accountant with PKF and TARIS, and she brings numbers of years of experience in taxation in Canada and in the US. So again, if you have any tax questions, she would be a great source of information for you. Another big one is family burden scenario. So 62% of retirees, they worry that they will become a financial burden for their children. And that's the big one for people who plan the retirement. Sorry, Sabrina, I thought I've heard something. I think it was just a noise in the background. So are there any questions so far? If you have any, just type them in the chat and Sabrina will monitor them and just let us know if there's any question there. So I'll start sharing my screen and presentation in a bit, just 1 second. Sabrina, can you please let me know if you see the screen or slides?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Today's topic of our presentation would be retirement planning. On my end, Olga will cover tax planning in more details, but I'll give you high-level information on retirement planning and some areas that you want to focus on. So everyone has a different vision of retirement. Really depends what you feel like and how you'd like to spend time with your family or with your friends. It might determine how much money you'll need, for how long do you need them, will your retirement savings last. So there are some common goals that we see when we work with clients. Again, make sure that savings last. People tend to live longer these days. Longevity is increasing. And you can imagine that if you were to retire, let's say in age 60, 65, you might live until 90. Like you have to make sure that you have enough savings to last to cover that lifestyle. You also want to make sure that you protect your assets. God forbid something happens, unexpected expenses, etc. Spending habits, staying healthy, and also leaving legacy. So these are the common goals that we focus on when we work on retirement and estate planning. Few more numbers. So there's over 50% of a chance for single male to leave over age 83, for single female to leave over age 86. And if there is a couple, there's over 50% of a chance that at least one of them will leave the age over 90. So yeah, like we were saying that a lot of Canadians, they worry that they don't have enough money at their retirement to support their lifestyle, and that's where we come in as financial planners, as tax planners. So make sure that everything's structured in the most efficient way. So you basically need the plan. So your needs when you retire might change. So your spendings might change. There is some basic expenses that you might have that you see, but there are some additional ones that you might not see yet. So that's the buffer that you want to make sure that you have. But also legacy planning, that is, if you have something left, and you would want to plan that wealth transfer to a next generation or to your beneficiary. And unfortunately, in Canada, we pay taxes when we leave, but we also have to pay taxes when we're gone. So that there's some planning around that needs to be done as well. So a few things that you can do today to basically improve the situation. Spending habits would be one of them. Optimize your assets, and also plan your legacy or estate planning. So we'll start with the first one. So at retirement, you might have a few sources of income, and basically RRSPs and REIFs, Olga will cover that, but you might also have government pension income, old age and CPP. You might have some investment income from your savings and your investments. You might work part-time also to supplement your retirement income. Annuity payments, so that one is an alternative for people to have a guaranteed monthly income. It's almost like a pension, like people who work for government, like teachers, police officers, they would have defined benefit pension plan. So annuity provide you with the same features like defined benefit pension plan, and you can have pension income, again, guaranteed until the rest of your life, indexed to inflation, to have that peace of mind at retirement as well. And you might have also a corporation that, let's say you had a business and you retired, now it basically became a holding company, and you might have some savings there, so you can use that one to supplement your retirement income and fund your lifestyle. So idea is here that you do not rely on one source of your income, but also within your savings investments, you do not rely on one stock, for example. You need a diversification and protection as well. So that's where active management comes into game, and you want to make sure that somebody who has that experience overseeing your savings as well. So at retirement, well, before retirement, you are in accumulation phase, and time works for you. You have a longer time horizon, but also volatility works for you. So you still can take advantage of market volatility by dollar cost averaging, for example. You still have time to wait until markets recover. But when you're at retirement, we call it distribution phase, it's quite opposite. So time work against you. You might not have enough time to wait until markets recover, but also volatility works against you. So at the retirement stage, you want to make sure that you are in the more stable, in the more conservative type of investments and planning. So volatility matters because you see here that example $100,000 in savings with $600 per month when withdrawals might last you almost 90 years if you get in on average 5% rate of return. And that's the sequence of returns we're talking about. This is like almost like a straight line here with average returns. But what happens if your first year you've got 5% in return, second year 25, and then the third one is minus 15? On average, you're still getting 5%, but because of the sequence of these returns, now your money lasts less. And then if your second year is minus 15 and third one is plus 25, it will be even less. So all of a sudden, from 90 years of funded spendings, you went from 90 to almost 80, right? So idea here is that poor early returns at your retirement might affect your situation significantly. So just be aware of that. So you need to have a better plan. So you can also focus on it now with spending habits that you might have. So if you want to make sure that your savings last, focus on spendings, but also keep in mind inflation. So here's the interesting number. Hamburger, French fries, and milkshake back in 1960s would cost you only 52 cents. But in today's dollars, it would cost you almost $16. So inflation is one of your enemies that you have to keep in mind and almost fight against it, because basically it erodes the purchasing power of your money. Here's the example. If you have $1 million in savings now, with only 2% of inflation in 25 or so years, it will be worth $600,000. And then if inflation goes up to 4%, will be worth 375,000. So the message here, dollar today, it's a different dollar in 20 years or 25 years. You will buy less for that. So withdrawal rate is important as well when you focus on on asset planning and etc. So if you are withdrawing only 3% of your portfolio, chances are that it will last. It will outlast you. But if you are withdrawing 10% of your savings at retirement, chances are that it will not last even 20 years there with markets that we've seen so far. Here's that example as well. So 4% historical performance of markets, 4%, you see that portfolio is growing. 5%, not that much. If 6, 7, 8%, you're running out of money. So keep that in mind when you're planning your retirement. So now managing your legacy, that is another alerting stat. More than 50% of Canadians do not have a signed will. And that's the problem, because we have, when we focus on estate planning, two main things that you want to make sure you have. One of them is a will, and second one, your power of attorneys. Will is something that we need when people are no longer around. If you don't have a will, and you basically did not outline how you want your estate to be distributed, government will decide how to do that, and that might not be the way you want to do that, or you wanted to do that. Now, you see that there are few parties that might participate in that plan. So you might have spouse, you might have kids, some other family members that you want to get something when you're no longer around, some friends, but also government will come in and they would want to tax you on few things. And again, that would be like a separate presentation on estate planning, but keep that in mind as well, that creditors, CRA, would want to have their money back or tax you on different sources of income or different assets. So you want to make sure that you plan that as well. But also, here's another point: business partners. So if you have a business and you have shareholders, that might get complex when one of the partners is no longer around. Business might have to buy their shares back, and it gets complicated. So you want to make sure that you'll be planning that, and you're protecting that that event potentially. So why do you need a will? A few things. People might think, hey, I'm too young, or I don't have enough to kind of put it in place for myself or so. But you basically need it almost at any time, including your power of attorneys as well. We'll talk about it later. But within the will, you would first appoint someone who will take care of your estate, somebody who we call executor. Second of all, that might provide you with a fair distribution of your assets to make sure that whatever assets you feel like assigning to whoever, they'll get those. And then also optimal outcomes. Again, there are some people with special needs, with disabilities. You have to plan it ahead of time, because depending on the province, if they'll get assets, if they'll inherit some assets, they might lose government benefits they're getting now. So there is Hansen Trust that you can put in place to kind of protect them from that happening. Guardians, if you have kids, minor kids, then you need to appoint a guardian, somebody who will look after them until they'll reach age of maturity. And then trust for kids as well. With high percentage of divorces, we see a lot of blended families, and again, that might get complex, and you want to make sure that your kids are protected and they're being provided with some assets if you're no longer around. So yeah, you want to make sure that you put in some work. You talk to professionals who will help you with that. So you'll see that taxation at estate at when people die, basically there are a few taxes that they will incur. So income earned to the date of the death will be taxed. Market values of RRSPs and REIFs, LIRAs potentially will be taxed unless there's a spousal rollover, and Olga will cover that. And there are, depending on the asset, there might be additional capital gains that will be triggered. So, and alternative, or I should say additional option for you to potentially minimize the tax would be charitable giving, because in Canada you are getting tax credits if you make a donation to register charity through, well, if you're an individual, or if you make a donation through your corporation, you also can get deduction. But also a lot of times people would give cash as a donation. You have to chase charitable organization to get charitable tax receipt to minimize your taxes. But also a lot of people not aware that they can make an in-kind donation. So those stocks, those investments that you might have, you can donate in kind. So instead of like triggering taxes, selling those, giving them cash, the value of that donation increases. Charitable organizations are happy to take those because they'll get more money and they are exempt from taxes. So that will be much helpful strategy here for both sides, for donors and for charitable organization. But you can also set up something that we call strategic giving fund or donor advised fund. That's almost equivalent of private foundation that your family can set up and run it, and there is a succession in place, meaning that your kids potentially can take over and support those causes that you've been supporting during their life. You can call it whatever, Smith Foundation, after your name, and there will be some legacy planning around that as well. And yeah, you can also indicate charity as one of the beneficiaries, but also not a lot of people are aware, but there are strategies where you can apply life insurance or an annuity to make charitable donation, and that will also escalate amount of funds that charity will get, but also will increase your charitable tax credits. So one thing that is important to keep in mind, to make sure that you are protecting your risks. And in early years of your life, you want to make sure that you're protecting your human capital, basically your ability to earn and save money. In later years, you want to make sure that you're protecting your financial capital. Again, God forbid something happens to you, you might sacrifice your savings, your retirement savings, you might become dependent. So you want to make sure it's covered. Alerting numbers as well, alerting stats. So over 22% of Canadians that are age of 15 or over have some form of disability. And unfortunately, only 28% of people who qualify for RDSP have used that, when have opened that. RDSP stands for Registered Disability Savings Plan, and basically government potentially can do some matching of up to 300% for people who have some form of disability, who are eligible for disability tax credits. And not a lot of people utilizing that. Like there's more awareness of our ESP for people, like accounts for education with 20% matching, but people forget that they might get up to 300% matching from our DSPs, and they don't take advantage of that. So if you have somebody who you know who have some form of disabilities, your family or friends, again, where do I begin to save for future for them? Will anything I do impact my loved ones' social assistance benefits? So keep that in mind. There are some tax benefits and government programs available, but again, what if it happens to me? Because people think that they are immortal, like nothing will happen to them until it happens. So this is your insurance needs analysis. Basically, a lot of people would rely on employers' group benefits. They think that they're protected, but the reality is they're not. Group benefits are heavily dependent on employer. They might change it, they might cancel it. You might lose it if you lose employment or you decide to switch. But again, hopefully by that time you're still healthy, but you are aging. Older you are, more expensive it gets for you to have those protection plans. And here's some stats, like 1 in 2 men will develop some form of a cancer in Canada. right? Almost 2.5 women will do the same. So it's not like it's far away, it's distant. Everybody potentially exposed to that. So you want to look at life insurance, you want to look at critical illness, you want to look at disability, read those booklets that you have at work, but most importantly, make sure that you have individual coverage in place for you and your family. So this is your insurance portfolio that you want to focus on: life insurance, term insurance at the beginning because it's cheaper, but eventually it has to be converted to permanent one. If you have something in place like term, it will protect your insurability. So regardless what happens to you, that will help you still to protect your insurability down the road. Disability insurance, that's what you need to have in early years as well, that eventually will be converted to long-term care insurance, and critical illness should be there always. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and go over in more details. And so our idea is basically make sure that you have a plan in place. Your affairs are structured in most pragmatic, optimal way to make sure that you meet your goals and you protect it. There are some some things that we need from you to make sure it happens as well. Again, just set up those automatic contributions if you can. That will help you to kind of save money and build up your portfolios, but also avoid emotional, impulsive decisions that you might have. Make sure that it's custom. There's no other situation that is the same. Everybody's different. You need to make sure that your plan is customized based on your situation. Um, and again, like there are many good habits that you can develop over time, and we basically encourage people to do that, and we help them to do that. Tax planning is not about just assets or investments. Again, you have to make sure that you have tax efficient strategies in pretty much every area of your life, now and in future. So we didn't even talk about business owners, but business owners require special attention because their situation usually is more complex. Depending on your stage of your business, you might be in the startup stage, and basically you would want to look at like your cash flow, your protection plans, liability exposure, when to incorporate, because you can start business as a self-employed or so, and then eventually you might want to incorporate for tax purposes, so and liability exposure potential, but also term, disability, critical illness insurance that is always there for you, and you want to make sure that it's covered. Now, when you're growing, you might be getting additional partners. You want to make sure that you have shareholders agreements between those partners. You'll be amazed how many companies we come across, how many businesses we come across who have some form of a partnership, but they never put it in writing. They never sign it. And also, there is also buy-sell need, meaning that, God forbid, something happens to one of the partners. What's next? Like, how are they handling the situation? Business might be exposed to potential cash need or so that they need to have in order to buy those shares back or so. Group health, dental plans, business overhead, key person insurance, that is there for you as well at that stage. When you mature in your business, mature in again corporate structure, tax efficient strategies for investment allocations, because now you can start building your investment portfolio inside the corporation. There is a potential strategies where you can put your personal insurance under corporation as well, including permanent one, and individual pension plan, IPP. That's potential pension plan that business owners can build. Similar feature like defined benefit pension plan, but it's not for everyone. Again, really depends on situation. And succession and transition, that's a big one as well. Based on demographics in Canada, we have a lot of people who are retiring, who are looking to sell their businesses, and unfortunately, a lot of times their kids are not willing to take over because they're pursuing some other needs. So you want to make sure that you are preparing your business for transition, for sale, and usually it takes 3 to 5 years to make sure that you structure it properly, to basically minimize taxes and make sure that you have more money left in your pocket after that transaction. So one last thing that I'd like to mention is private company advisory. So we basically help our clients to source the deals, to finance it, bring in potential investors on board. That's not for everyone. It's not for startups or smaller companies. We're looking at bigger companies. So if you come across of those, we will be more than happy to help. Basically, that's it. Sabrina, do we have any questions?
I don't see any in the chat yet.
Okay, sounds good. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. But I'll let Olga take over and present her piece on tax minimization strategies.
Thanks, Alex. I'm just gonna share my screen and I'll continue. Yeah, please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we have a question in the chat. We can address it. So, Alex, would you like us to respond to the chats right now or after the presentation?
I think let's see, because I think let's finish with your part, because I see like Hardeep is typing and we've got a question from Engin. So let's finish your piece and then we'll go to questions. But guys, if you have any questions, type them in the chat and we'll answer them in the end of the presentation.
Sounds good. Thank you. Yeah, thanks again for joining today to discuss the tax planning and retirement planning. So today I'm going to cover and dive more into detail about RRSPs and tax consequences. So we'll start with RRSP, common retirement plans, and how they work. So RRSP, it's a registered retirement savings plan. It's a tax advantaged savings account designed to help individuals save for retirement. There are different types of RRSPs. There can be personal RRSPs, group RRSPs, offered by employers, and self-directed RRSPs, allowing for a wide range of investment options. So for the contributions, they are, for most of the types of RRSP investment that we're discussing here, they're tax deductible. So RRSP is also tax deductible and can reduce your taxable income. So you can use the maximum contribution limit to invest into RRSPs, and we will cover that a little bit later. Investment growth for RRSPs is allowing people to invest into different portfolios under RRSP and not paying any tax on interest, dividends, or capital gains within RRSPs. So they are saved in the RRSP plan until withdrawn later. You can withdraw from RRSP at any time, but please be mindful that whenever it's withdrawn, it's going to be taxable. And at the end, at the age of 71, the RRSPs will need to be transferred to RIF that we're going to discuss later. So the next one is LIRA. It's a locked-in retirement account. It's a type of retirement savings account that holds pension funds from a previous employer's registered pension plan. The funds are locked in, meaning that you cannot access them until retirement or specific conditions are met. So you can transfer. If you leave a job where you were part of a pension plan, you might have an option to transfer the pension value to LIRA. And like RRSP, LIRA allows for tax-deferred growth on investments as well. So withdrawals, you can withdraw from LIRA account, but only after you reach retirement age. Usually it's 55 years. 55 years. At that point, you can transfer the funds to another retirement vehicle like a RIF, or make certain withdrawals depending on provincial regulations. And next one we're going to discuss is registered retirement income fund. So this is a retirement account that you can use to withdraw income during retirement while still benefiting from a tax-deferred growth on the investments held within the account. You typically must convert your RRSP into RIF by end of the year when you turn 71. You can also transfer funds from LIRA to a RIF when you're ready to start withdrawing funds. And for the investment growth, it's the same. Funds in RIF continue to grow tax deferred until the funds withdrawn. So RIFs can be withdrawn, and you are required to withdraw a minimum amount each year, which is calculated based on your age and total value of the account. And the funds you withdraw are also considered taxable income. As a summary, it's important to consider the accumulation phase. So use your RRSPs and LIRA during working years to save and grow your retirement funds tax deferred, and transition to RIF upon retirement to start drawing income while still benefiting from the tax deferred growth on remaining funds. And please be mindful about the tax implications. So when you withdraw the money from any of the accounts that we discussed, the withdrawal will be taxable. So we will move on to the RRSP contribution limit and rollovers. Let's start with the RRSP contribution limit. It's important to understand the basics so that when you do your planning, either tax planning or retirement investment planning, it's really important to make sure that you're in compliance with all the regulations and rules. So RRSP contribution limit, also known as RRSP contribution room, is limited to the 18% of your earned income. And this percentage ensures that individuals can save a significant amount of their retirement without facing immediate tax penalties. In 2025, for instance, the maximum RRSP limit will be set at $32,490. It can change based on the CRA guidance, so please consider. And this is an important number to remember as it notes the upper boundary for the tax deductible contributions for that year. So one vital aspect to keep in mind is that RRSP contribution room is personal to you and cannot be transferred to a spouse or common law partner. It's essential to plan accordingly and be mindful of that. So if you do contribute more than your limit, it can lead to penalties, the CRA penalties. However, there is a grace amount that you can take advantage of. So an additional $2,000 beyond the limit allows people to contribute over the limit, which will not trigger the tax consequences or penalties. And this flexibility can certainly relieve some of the pressure of saving for their retirement. Now let's talk about the rollover provisions. Not many people know about it, but it's really important to know about it. So specifically with regard to the retirement allowances. A retirement allowance is a payment made in recognition of long service, which can include severance or termination payments And an important detail here is that these amounts can be eligible to transfer into personal RRSP. And the best part of it is that this transfer occurs without impacting your RRSP contribution room or registered pension plan. So when you receive your T4 slip that details these payments, you will find the key information indicating the eligibility for the rolled over contributions. For example, the T4 box 66 shows the amounts that are eligible to transfer, and the box 67 indicates those that are not. So when you get to this point and you're not very sure, please make sure that you are consulting or doing your tax with knowledge and doing it right, so that it doesn't trigger any tax upon moving the funds or withdrawals. And it's imperative to be informed about RRSP contribution limits to avoid over-contribution and penalties and utilize rollovers for the retirement allowances. So next, we will move on to the eligible and non-eligible types of investments for RRSP. So first, here are the types of investments that can be placed within RRSP to grow your wealth over time and enjoy the tax benefits. So the eligible investments include cash, it's Canadian and foreign currencies, allowing you to invest in a variety of currencies to diversify your portfolio. Next is mutual funds. Both Canadian and foreign mutual funds offer a wide range of investment options, from equity to fixed income, to suit your needs. Publicly traded securities, stocks, bonds, and other securities listed on designated stock exchange, providing access to a variety of investment opportunities. Government and corporate bonds, including Canada savings bonds and provincial savings bonds, offering low-risk investment options with regular income. Next one is guaranteed investment certificates. They're offered by banks and other financial institutions, providing a fixed return on a low level of risk, which is, from what I know, it's becoming really popular right now with the increased interest rates. Next option is exchange traded funds. It's traded on a designated stock exchange, offering a diversified portfolio with flexibility and liquidity. And certain mortgages, qualified mortgages on Canadian real estate, providing a unique investment opportunities with a tangible asset. So on the other hand, I would like to mention the investments that are not eligible within RRSP. These include personal property, such as art, antiques, collectibles, which are considered high-risk investments and are not tax advantaged within RRSP. Shares of private corporations, unless they meet specific criteria by the CRA, which may result in complex rules and restrictions. Next is commodities, including precious metals like gold, silver. They are not eligible within RRSP due to tax implications. And the real estate, direct ownership of real estate properties, which can be subject to various tax implications and is generally not allowed within an RRSP. And the last one is non-qualified investments. Any investments non-listed as qualified by CRA, which may lead to the penalties and consequences as well. So it is important to know what you can invest under RRSP, and this will help you to make the best choices for your investment goals and meet them. Now we will cover the benefits of the RRSP. So first of all, the taxation is we already talked about, but just to summarize. So the powerful RRSP is that you can use the advantage of tax deduction for the amount of the RSP contributed, and the whatever you contributed, it's allowing you to use the tax deferral to not be taxed until you withdraw the money back from the RRSP. So it's possible to lower your tax bracket. When you retire, usually the income becomes smaller if you stop working or you change the activity. So you can take advantage of the lower tax bracket and withdraw the money from RRSP at that point. And as well as you can take advantage of the withdrawing money from RRSP into home buyer plan that we're going to discuss in a bit, and from the LLP, the life learning plan as well, to take advantage of those. So the home buyer plan allows you a fantastic opportunity to withdraw money for the first home buyers up to $35,000 tax-free from your RRSP, and use that money towards your down payment, for example, or the portion of the mortgage that you want to cover. So this amount will increase to $60,000 after April 16, 2024. And it's a chance to invest in your dream home while you also enjoy a generous repayment period of 15 years. So generally, it has to be repaid within 15 years. And I listed some of tax tips. Usually when you buy the home, first-time home buyer, you can use a tax credit when you file your taxes to get some money back. And the next one is there's also first-time home buyer, the first home savings account that can be used to invest in your money. There's certain differences between the home buyer plan and the first home savings account that allows you to plan better. And for those seeking further education, they can use the life learning plan. It offers the pathway to invest in your future. You can withdraw up to $10,000 per year from your RRSP with the total maximum of $20,000. And to finance full-time education or training for yourself or your spouse. This usually has to be repaid within 10 years, and it makes an excellent way to enhance your skills without immediate financial pressure. Finally, we will cover do's and don'ts. This is a summary of all what we talked about so far. So first we'll cover the do's. First and foremost, tax return as early as possible. And doing so not only allows you to assess your tax obligations, but also earns you the RRSP contribution room. By filing early, you set a solid foundation for your financial year and which allows you to plan and contribute with confidence. Next, you can consider your spousal contribution room if applicable. This is a powerful strategy for couples looking to optimize their retirement savings. By utilizing your partner's RRSP contribution room, you can create a balanced retirement savings plan that works for the benefit of both partners and ensuring a secure financial future together. Now, I would like to mention that it's possible to maximize your contribution if this works for you. If you have the capacity, aim to reach your maximum contribution limits. Not only does this enhance your retirement savings, but it also provides immediate tax benefit, translating into more comfortable financial cushion for the retirement. And then additionally, choose your most appropriate investment tool within your retirement plan. There is no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to investments, but consider your risk tolerance and time horizon and individual financial goals, whether it's mutual funds, bonds, or stocks, or ensure your investments align with your retirement strategy. And now that we covered the do's, we'll turn into the attention to the don'ts, the traps to avoid when navigating your RSP contributions. First, don't over-contribute, as we talked about previously. Make sure you vigilant and aware of your contribution limits. Over-contribution can lead to penalties and unnecessary complexities in your tax filing. But keeping track of your contributions is crucial to maintaining your financial health. And secondly, try to avoid withdrawing from your RRSP unless absolutely necessary. Early withdrawals not only come with the tax consequences, but also diminish your contribution room for the future years. Remember, every dollar counts toward your retirement, and preserving your savings should always be a priority. Next is another point is to remember is to refrain from opening multiple RRSP accounts. While it may seem beneficial to diversify, multiple accounts can lead to confusion regarding tracking your contribution limits, and the amounts and investments. Try to streamline your saving strategy for clarity and ease of management. And finally, try to resist to urge the contribution of significant amounts at the retirement age. Late stage contributions may not only provide the same may not provide the same compounding benefits as early and consistent contributions. Start saving early and make your money work for your future throughout the entirety of your career. So thanks again, and let us know if you have any questions. We will go through the chat and try to answer the questions.
Thank you, Olga. I think you can stop sharing your screen, and we'll pull us as speakers on the screen. Yeah, so when while you were presenting, I was answering those questions that we had in the chat, and primarily they're coming from one person. Hardy was just wondering, since he didn't see my slides on the screen for some reason, he would want to get some recording, so I addressed that. And then we also had a question. Sorry, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but it's either Engin or Engin. But they were asking questions about CPP, all age, and guaranteed income supplement. They will be here for 10 years. Soon they'll turn 65, and they were wondering how much they're eligible for, how much they will get from that, and what happens if they were to go outside of Canada to leave their permanent place, as I understood. So I suggested that they reach out to you guys so you can run some numbers for them and help, because it's very much individual situation. I also suggested that they request from Service Canada their CPP statement of contributions to have more precise idea, but they insisted that they need their answers now today. So basically I provided some information in the chat, and yeah, if you have more questions, just again feel free to type them in the chat or set up an appointment. I think it will be the best for you to kind of move on. Sorry, there's an additional question from the same person. I did not mean to receive 60K from CPP. I meant someone who earned 60K pay tax. Yeah, so Engin, I would suggest that to respect everyone's time, we have 2 minutes left. I gave you a general idea, but I would suggest if you can reach out to PKF and address those questions with them, that will be the best for you. Other than that, I think we've handled it pretty well. Thank you for your time once again, and we'll share our recording, we'll share slides with you, and if you have any questions, any additional questions, feel free to reach out to us directly. And Olga, once again, thank you for your time, and thank you, Sabrina, for monitoring and helping us with logistics on the background.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep. Thank you. Take care, guys. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.